What AI tools are you using in your real estate business, and are you using them to their full potential? Stay tuned for some solid AI hacks. What's up? JC Agajadian here, broker associate with the Whistle Realty Group at eXp, breaking down the Monday Morning Mastermind put on by the Fast Forward movement as we do every week. Today we've got some great topics to cover, including AI. It's the hottest topic around. They talked about it a ton at the eXpCon conference we just came from, and today we're going to be talking about how to use it beyond the basics for your real estate business. We're also going to be talking about strategies for selling stale listings. Yes, in some markets, listings are getting stale pretty quickly. And we're also going to be talking about hiring a VA and really what to look for when you're going through that process. So let's dive straight into it. First, talking about AI uses for your real estate business beyond the basics. Everybody knows you can ask ChatGPT or Bard or some of the other sources for questions or direction on certain things. You can certainly use it for descriptions that you're writing. Of course, lots of people have used that already, but we want to take it to the next level today. So we're asking who's got experience using these advanced tools in their business. One of the first tips we heard about today was pretty cool. I didn't even know this, but apparently you can go into the settings specifically for ChatGPT, and I'm sure Bard has a similar setup, and you can establish preset instructions above and beyond the basic prompts. Hopefully you've already heard about the way prompts work. Before you ask the AI tool a question, you kind of tell it, how you want it to behave, right? Imagine you're a real estate broker working in Southern California and you want to do X, Y, and Z, right? So you're prompting the tool how to respond to you with the next question you're about to ask it. Now, this is a step back before that. There are actually preset instructions you can set up for your profile within the system. You can also go in and build out your personal profile to explain how you want it to react with you. So taking the time to go in and set up the preset instructions and build out your profile is going to really improve the reliability and the accuracy of the responses you get from either Chat or Bard. The next one is probably even cooler than that. We heard about a plugin that you can buy, and you can build out through this plugin various potential buyer profiles for a listing of yours. Let's say you have an appointment coming up and you want to explain how you're going to set yourself apart from the average agent out there and what you're going to do differently. Well, you can create a custom marketing plan for a handful of different specific buyer profiles that you determine are good avatars, if you will, or buyers, potential types of people who would want that property. With this marketing plan, you can go in and explain what you're going to do and truly differentiate yourself from most other agents who are not quite as technologically advanced. You can also use the same tool for Facebook ads for your listings or for simply targeting buyers that you want to work with. Another idea is to use ChatGPT or Bard to help create your business plan for the year. We are in the fall right now and we're closing in on the end of the year. So when you begin to plan for next year, consider using one of the AI tools to help generate this plan, and you can even have it help you, once you have this plan, break it down on a month per month basis, week per week, even day to day, and you can create your whole calendar to help you execute the plan that you've created using AI. Above and beyond using Chat or Bard for your copywriting, which is what most people in the real estate business are using it for right now, Jasper AI is another option which apparently works better. I haven't used it yet myself, but apparently it's great for copywriting. But as usual with anything AI related, you've got to do some editing, and you've always have to add a human voice to the content, because frankly, I've spotted AI-driven copy in listings from a mile away. It's very easy to see, and you don't want that happening on your listing. Kind of short and sweet today for the AI side of things, but we're going to move on to strategies for selling stale listings. Believe it or not, some markets have already shifted and actually have a surplus of inventory, not a shortage like the most of us do. This is especially true in vacation home markets or in some luxury markets where it's really more of a want than a need. So before we sit down with a seller, we need to really define the terms. We need to explain to them what an appropriate marketing time is for a home like theirs in a neighborhood like theirs and what's not. So we need to be on the same page with our seller as far as stale listings go. Of course, we're not going to use that verbiage, but in most cases, we're not talking about months. We're not talking about weeks. It can be days or maybe a week plus. I'm sure many of you have already seen the infographic that kind of looks like a pyramid, and it breaks down the percentage of buyers on either side that you attract when you're right at what we believe to be market value, and then what happens when you list above that, and then what happens when you go below it. We need to help sellers understand what we already know, and this commonly used infographic is a great way to explain to them why you don't want to overprice the listing, or in many markets today, why you don't even want to use a market value listing approach. We have to explain to sellers the difference between what we feel market value is and what our listing price strategy is going to be, and how we're going to attract as many eyeballs as possible to their property. A lot of this conversation we had today surrounding stale listings is really about pricing, right? So we're addressing pricing up front, hopefully, and if need be, after the fact, once we're already live. And another way to make sure you get the pricing right is to show a spreadsheet of closings with market times and prices selling over or below that asking price. This is pretty powerful, especially when you're using your own data, but it can be just as powerful when you're using simply maybe neighborhood or even the greater market data. What you want to do is show accurate pricing strategy with proof of how that pricing, a little bit lower in this case, will actually lead to a higher price and get them what they want and even more. When we discuss the concept of using a pricing strategy that is lower in order to encourage multiple offers and bid the price up, it's got to be dramatic. I mean, we've got to be almost ridiculous in our pricing strategy. Not a little bit low, but like a silly price. And the reason you want to do this is because let's say you've got an $800,000 home and you price it at $790. They may just think that it's a $790 home. There's something funky about it or whatever, and that's where it's at. But if you come off 10 or 20% and you list it in at 7 or maybe in the high 6s, this is almost the same as just throwing $1 on the listing price and saying, we're not telling you what we want, go ahead and bid for us, market. And that's a really powerful way to go about getting that number to be where it ought to be. And honestly, in the end, the market's going to tell you what that home is worth anyways. When it comes to marketing and really getting exposure to these listings, it's another way to make sure we're not getting stale with market time. A great tip that we heard from this morning was to do what a lot of us normally do, but maximize it a little bit. So we're talking about a YouTube video or a property tour, but we're gonna make it a little bit more than a standard run through pointing out the features that we've got in the home. We're gonna do a walkthrough, but we're also gonna walk the neighborhood and we're gonna talk up everything, starting out and going in. We're gonna explain what's going on in this part of town, how it's different than the next section over, and we're going to talk about, of course, the home and all the great features of that property. This is going to be maybe a 5 to 10 minute video. This is going to be a longer form video in this day and age. But the cool thing is, you can take this one clip that you make, of course, you're going to put it on YouTube and you're going to put it on your socials and you're going to get it out as much as you can. But from that clip, you're going to break it down either with your editor or with an editing tool like Opus Clip, which will literally take that piece and make a bunch of little shorts from that video. You take your TikToks, your Reels, your YouTube shorts, everything that you're gonna get out of that one longer video, and you can trickle them out into the market for literally a week or two, all on a regular basis, and really not only expose the property to the market, but demonstrate to your seller all the work that you're doing to get eyeballs on the home. Taking that idea a little bit farther, you can use a tool called OneUp to schedule all your shorts and reels. YouTube, Insta, TikTok, whatever you're doing, you can plan it out for the whole week so that you're not there worrying about making that happen every single day. Sticking with this idea, you can layer on a tool called ManyChat. This thing was something that was brought to our attention a while ago, talked a lot more on stage at EXPCon last week, but ManyChat is a tool that you can put into Facebook and Instagram, and it automatically responds and DMs people for you. You can use it to auto schedule meetings through DMs. You can tell people to say a certain word in the comments, and then you can have it respond in the comments so that you're building the algorithm's knowledge that people care about that post. And then you can take it from there into the DM. You can do follow-ups automatically, or you can even have an offer to schedule meetings. And all of this is without any interaction on your behalf. It's literally a tool that does this for you. It's pretty cool, and I can't wait to implement it into my business. If you happen to be with the brokerage already, EXP Exclusives is going to be a serious game changer. This is another tool you can use to make sure your listings don't get stale and that you have grander and greater exposure. We're basically the biggest brokerage in the world at this point. If you're not with the company, check me. We are definitely the fastest growing in the United States, and I believe we've got more market share as far as agents than any other company at this point. So with that being said, we're basically being given access to an entirely new brokerage-only MLS service with EXP Exclusives. It's going to allow us to share coming soons and off-market listings because we are all in the same brokerage. And like I said before, it's going to be a game changer, and this is going to be something that can help you sell properties off market without breaking the clear cooperation guideline. Before we move on to our final topic for the day, another great idea was to consider offering a significant rate buy down to the buyers looking at your property in lieu of simply reducing the list price. This is going to be looked at more favorably by your seller because they're not just cutting the price, but maybe they're more open to the idea that something needs to be done. It's also going to be looked at pretty favorably by buyers because their agents can present to them a property that has something it's advertising that other properties don't. Hey, we can get for sure a killer rate for you on this property. It's gonna be a bit of a negotiation on anything else you see because they're not saying up front they're willing to work with us on that. The agent that mentioned this strategy said she's been having some great success with it, and it's something you guys should consider. Moving on to hiring VAs and what to look for when doing so. There's lots of services that will help you do this, and they actually offer to even train your VAs on your behalf, which sounds pretty stinking appealing. But most often, that strategy is going to backfire on you. We need to hire VAs the same way we would hire someone who's going to be working in our own office with us. We need to put in the time and effort into teaching them how we want them to interact with ourselves, the rest of our team, and how we want them to do the job. These are humans that just happen to live somewhere else. They need to be brought into your corporate culture. They need to be part of your team as much as possible, given the geographical distance. Best thing you can do with hiring anyone, especially someone who's not going to be around for you to drop in and chat with them briefly, is to start with a very clear, well built out job description. Then you can review their resume carefully. This is an interesting piece to look at. You want to not just have an interview and make sure they answer the questions right and move forward, but you want to look with a scrutinizing eye at their resume. Take a look at how long they've been at each position in the past. Make sure to look for any serious time gaps in their job history as well. This really speaks to their ability to show up for work, stay engaged, and stay with you more long term because hiring and firing is a pain in the butt. Like I said in the interview process, you've got to be prepared to dig through the BS because they're prepared for it. You've got to dig deeper. So, if they've got something on their resume that they've accomplished or a task that they got done that was one of their chief responsibilities at a previous job, drill down on it. Dig deep, detailed questions about that task. What was wrong to begin with? Why were you needed to help fix this or address this issue? How did you go about solving that problem? And by just picking one of the things that they've cited they've completed in the past and really going deep with it, you're going to find out if this person is really an independent thinker who knows how to solve problems and get things done, or if they're just throwing things on the resume that they think is going to look good and was loosely based on something they've done in the past. Make sure to plan well for these interviews. Don't talk too much. You ask a question, you shut up and let them run, right? Don't fall into the trap of asking leading questions either. You want to really let them think for themselves and display their competencies as much as possible in these interviews. Another big mistake lots of people make when hiring a VA is thinking they can just pick someone up and throw any task at them, right? VAs are not a one-stop shop, the same way someone you hire to work in your office is not a one-stop shop. You want to hire someone to do either marketing or prospecting or video editing, whatever you're going to have them do, but hire them for that job. You can't expect someone to be able to do it all the same way you wouldn't expect your coworker to be able to do it all. People have expertise and they have specialties. If you want to hire someone to do video editing, you got to hire someone with that experience and with training in video editing. You can't just find someone who maybe has a little bit of exposure with Photoshop or Premiere, but really they're maybe focused on doing some other task like marketing, for example. You want to hire someone for the right job, and that applies with virtual assistants the same way it does with anybody else you're going to have working for you. Whether admin, marketing, Photoshop and video, whatever the specialty is you're looking for, your VA should be the support for someone you've already got in-house working for you. Maybe one of your assistants or coworkers that you've got on the team. You want to have, even if it is only a few people, you want to have the beginnings of an organizational chart for your company, and this is the way it should work. That's going to wrap our recap for the day of the Monday Morning Mastermind, covering AI uses for real estate beyond the basics, covering strategies for selling stale listings, and of course, what to look for when hiring a VA. As usual, I'm always happy to chat or answer questions. Feel free to hit me up right here, and I look forward to talking to you soon.